Okay, so there's two new phones that just came out from Samsung and Apple, both just above 400 bucks in the United States. We've got the Galaxy A53 5G and the new iPhone SE 5G. As you can see, one looks pretty similar to its more expensive sibling, and the other looks a bit like, well, its older sibling that you can't buy anymore. But it has updated internals. That's gonna surprise a lot of people. So let's go ahead and get this matchup started to see which is the better phone to buy at $400. So the Galaxy A53 starts out at 449 bucks. The iPhone SE starts out at 429 bucks. You get 128 gigabytes of storage with the Galaxy A53, but only 64 gigabytes with the base model iPhone. You can go up to 256 gigabytes of storage, but then you're spending a lot more money. On the Galaxy A53, you get a 6.5-inch Super AMOLED display, 120 Hz refresh rate at 2400 by 1080 resolution, while the iPhone SE has a 4.7-inch screen, 60 Hz refresh rate at 1334 by 750 resolution. So obviously a bigger screen on Samsung, better refresh rate, a little bit higher resolution. And then you're gonna notice colors on these two phones are a tad bit different. To me, the Galaxy seems a little bit brighter in person. And then I don't know if you can tell, but the Samsung looks a little more blue, iPhone looks more yellow. A lot of it's going to be personal preference on which you think has the better looking screen. But for me, I like the bigger screen on the Galaxy A53 over the smaller iPhone, especially when you're using the keyboard to try to type something or just watching a video. Pretty much everything is just a little bit easier on the eyes on the Samsung. You can go up to 2160p resolution when watching YouTube videos on the iPhone SE, only 1080p resolution on the Galaxy A53, and then you're going to get full HD playback when watching Netflix. Both screens look good, nice and sharp when streaming videos. I mean, I am sort of surprised to see them next to each other. The one area where the iPhone screen doesn't look quite as small, well, before you zoom in on the Galaxy phone, that is. But for everything that fills the whole screen, yeah, it's going to be a pretty big difference. And again, I feel like the colors don't look that great on the iPhone for some reason. It just has a more yellowish red tint to it compared to the Galaxy A53. So yeah, I have to give the edge to Samsung on which has the better display. Probably what I think is the biggest difference between these two is definitely going to be battery life. In my battery drain test, the Galaxy lasted over 12.5 hours before dying at full screen brightness, while the iPhone lasted only 6 hours during that same test. If you want the phone with the best battery life, it's going to be a pretty easy decision. Plenty of power to get you through a normal day, but if you turn the screen brightness down, you could easily get 2 days on the Galaxy A53. Now, performance-wise, you get an Exynos 1280 in the Galaxy A53, A15 Bionic chip in the iPhone SE. When looking at Geekbench scores, it's not going to be that close. The iPhone scores are about twice that of the A53. Not a huge surprise here considering what's inside each phone, but yeah, if you want the phone with more power, better performance, it's going to be the iPhone. Although in my experience, both phones are going to be fine for most people. Whether you're browsing online, watching a video, playing a game, you're not going to notice a huge difference just moving around the software. So in my opinion, you can't really go wrong with either one when it comes to performance. Neither of these two phones are considered gaming phones, but with the iPhone, with that better performance, you're gonna get better gaming and you'll be able to choose higher resolution graphics, frame rates on games like PUBG Mobile, which is kind of weird when you think about the Galaxy phone having a higher resolution display. But yeah, it's a lower resolution when gaming just because of performance. So if you want the phone that's better at gaming, technically you should probably go with the iPhone. But for me, I still prefer a little bit bigger screen like that on the A53. It's just easier to touch things on the screen without accidentally hitting other stuff, which sometimes has happened with the smaller iPhone. There's not going to be a lot to talk about when it comes to software on these two phones. Samsung and Apple are two of the most popular out there. I like a lot of things about both, but some people are going to prefer what Samsung does with Android, while others are going to prefer what Apple is doing. Either way, you can't go wrong with either, and you'll be able to get done pretty much the same stuff on both, but just in different ways. It's kind of nice that you get the fingerprint scanner or Touch ID right there on the front, which is going to be pretty convenient for both. It might be just personal preference preference on if you like it built into the screen versus having the older physical home button. But yeah, either way, really nice feature to have on both phones. Usually Apple is going to win when it comes to how long they offer software support, even if that means a slower software experience sometimes. But now that Samsung is offering 4 years software updates, 5 years security updates, both phones should last a long time until you're ready to get your new phone, which to be honest, it's probably going to be before 4 years anyways. I think before I did YouTube videos, I probably upgraded every 2 to 3 years. Nice thing is both phones have speakers on each side, and you would think Samsung's gonna blow away the little iPhone because, you know, it's bigger, more room for bigger speakers, but the iPhone actually holds its own when it comes to how the speakers sound and how loud they are. Sure, I think Samsung wins this category by a little bit once you turn on Dolby Atmos anyways, but here's a quick sample of each just to see what you think. When it comes to the cameras, you've got one camera on the back of the iPhone SE, 4 cameras on the back of the Galaxy A53. Again, you would think Samsung's gonna destroy the iPhone's dated style of just one camera, but I think you're gonna be surprised on how good this little guy is when it comes to getting good photos and video. Not to mention, you can go up to 4K 60 frames per second on the iPhone, only 4K 30 frames per second on the Galaxy A53. Here's a quick sample of each just to give you an idea of what to expect. So it's going to come down to what's important to you when trying to decide on a new phone. Is it going to be the one with better battery life or best performance? I feel like those two are probably the biggest to consider when trying to decide between these two. But hopefully this video gave you a little closer look at both of these. I know I've got some more comparisons to do for both, and of course a lot more tablet comparisons, so you'll definitely want to look out for those. So if you've made it this far into the video, you may want to say thanks by subscribing, and don't forget to give a thumbs up if this video was helpful. This is Brian from Fishbee Productions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.